Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Happy Friday.
How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Leila,
Oji. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Happy Workers' Day.
You too. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We begin What's Trending today in recognition of Nigerian Doctor Babafemi Taiwo, who is leading part of a study for the breakthrough antiviral drug Remdesivir, which appears to be effective in treating COVID-19. The drug has been said to help hospitalized COVID-19 patients recover faster. In an interview with CNN, Dr. Taiwo said it was the first time since the pandemic that a drug actually showed promise. Dr. Taiwo is the Chief of Infectious Disease in the Department of Medicine at the Northwestern University in Chicago. He holds a Bachelor's of Medicine and a Bachelor's of Surgery from the University of Ibadan. Really excited, you know, this is such an amazing breakthrough drug that they're talking about, since even Dr. Fauci has touted it as a great news for the treatment for COVID-19. I'm just really excited that, you know, Nigerian, as usual, is part of this whole study, and we really must commend and congratulate him.
Well, I think we should be very proud of Dr. Babafemi Taiwo.
Yes.
But he represents a particular set of Nigerians who, in spite of the challenges that we face at home, are doing very well in other parts of the world. The other day we had Dr. Rotimi on this program, who is also head of an infectious diseases team in Leeds, right? You were on that program, of course, yes. You know, in Leeds, and he was on this program. And you have many examples like that. You know, persons who are excelling in various fields, be it science or sports or any other field, you know, academia. But the caveat there is that many of these persons who excel, they may have had their foundation here in Nigeria, because I saw some comments on Dr. Taiwo. He graduated from the University of Ibadan. People said, look, if he had been here, the kind of position he's occupying in the United States, he probably would have lost that position to quota system. You know, but the message of it is that you should run a country in such a way that merit is recognized, excellence is rewarded, and anywhere you find yourself, you know, once it's about merit and excellence, you know, then the very best will come to the top. Yes. And that's probably a major minus that we have here in Nigeria, where intellect means very little, and there's a culture of anti-intellectualism. And these persons, you know, people like him, like Dr. Taiwo, like Dr. Rotimi, these are persons that, you know, Nigeria can engage at a very serious level to see how, you know, when an enabling environment emerges in Nigeria, they can assist their country and give back in terms of expertise and knowledge.
Well, we're very proud of you, Dr. Abati. I mean, you are excellent and you're here. So we are recognizing you as well. So.
No, but yeah, I'm not a scientist, I just talk.
Well, no, you're an intellectual. Well, let's take a story in Nigeria. The governor of Ekiti State, Femi, has offered an appointment to a father who denied his son entry into his home after returning from Lagos in his quest to curtail the spread of coronavirus in Ekiti State. Mr. Femi ADEOYE is a retired Deputy Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps. He was seen in a video that went viral on Thursday, where he argued that his son must submit himself to isolation and test before he could be allowed to reunite with his family. Let's take a quick look at that video.
Why he's going out, they said we should release this man to you. It's your son. And you say he should not go to your house. For what reason? After making the test.
I can't stand the risk of COVID-19.
But it's your son.
It's my son, but despite the fact that it's my son, I cannot risk COVID-19 because I've given him instruction not to travel. And he traveled, and I've been here since yesterday morning to make complaint to the security.
Yes.
I've gone to Dr. Fashola. I've spoken with the chief security officer that if this boy should come, that I will not house him, that he should get proper satisfaction from the state before I can admit him to my house.
Baba, after we have made a test, No, that test, the test that you have just made is tentative because the rule says that anybody that stands the risk of COVID-19 should be isolated for 14 days.
Okay.
and I don't have a place to isolate myself for 14 days.
Is there any sign that you see that you are putting out to your son that is already having the COVID-19?
The sign is that he's from Lagos.
Okay.
I don't want his case to be like the case of the pregnant women that threw Ekiti State into confusion 2 weeks ago. I don't want his case. That's why I'm a disciplined person. That's why I've started this thing since yesterday.
Okay.
Some people will hear about this thing, they will not do anything.
Yes.
Until this problem boomerang, and many people like Kano will continue to die.
Impressed by Mr. ADEOYE's discipline, the governor of Ekiti State, Femi, on Thursday invited Mr. ADEOYE to his office where he applauded him and then offered him an appointment to be the COVID-19 response ambassador in Ekiti State.
You know what? This is brilliant in my opinion. I mean, at the end of the day, it's so good when you see people upholding certain morale, upholding certain ethics, irrespective of how close it is to them. And quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, very well deserved. I think he got that appointment based on merit.
Well, first, let's thank the governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Femi, for recognizing Mr. Femi ADEOYE and for commending him for his bravery, his patriotism. Not many parents will do what he did. That's one. And it just shows that when you do the right thing, you can be recognized once you have a government that thinks and that appreciates people in place. The second point is to commend Mr. Femi ADEOYE himself for his bravery. And, after he met with the governor and he was interviewed, he said, I'm not a wicked father. I did what I did for the collective good of all. Now, many of these state governments have been calling for whistleblowers. Now, he's a perfect example of a whistleblower. And what he has done is perfectly in order.
Yes.
If he could do it to his own son, he would do it to another person. But you could see, he told his son, don't turn yourself into a super spreader of COVID-19. Stay where you are. The boy defied him, and he reported the boy to the authorities. I think that is in order. Number 3, he has also been commended by the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps. He's a retired Deputy Corps Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps. But, the FRSC, I think it's also good that the FRSC recognizes that this is a good ambassador for the Corps.
Yes.
I mean, the discipline that he has demonstrated must be, part of the virtue of, a certain cadre of FRC officials. And I like the fact that the FRC Corps Marshal immediately took ownership of him as one of their own. Hopefully, more people will emulate his example and not cover up people who may be super spreaders. The young man, the man's son, has been taken to the isolation center. He will go through the test, the governor remarked. At the end of the day, he may not be COVID-19 positive, but the man made a point that if you have been going about like smallpox, from one COVID-19 place to the other, then you should self-isolate.
But the point needs to be made is that the fact is that he just did not have a place to isolate his son. That's what his point.
He doesn't want to put other members of his family at risk.
Yeah, but the point is, we don't have enough space for isolations. I mean, to isolate people that are not COVID-19 positive. I mean, that's the issue here. What's going to happen if everyone's just going to push their children or out and say, listen, you have to go to an isolation center because I have no space. So that's
people have to find measures to also see how they can adopt measures to isolate at home, whether it's in separate parts of the house. You've heard of people isolating whereby somebody is on the top floor, someone on the bottom floor. But of course, not everybody has that luxury at the same time, which we have to understand. So give or take, it's not black and white. It's so dependent on everyone's situation.
Exactly.
Well, I understand that the task force official that was conducting that interview with Mr. Femi ADEOYE, I read a report saying that he had been suspended because he thought the whole thing was a joke. You could hear him even laughing in the background. I appeal to the governor to forgive him.
I mean,
he may have acted out of amusement and ignorance. This should be no reason why he should lose his job.
Exactly. Very well said. Well, finally, in Nigeria, Special Advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, announced on Thursday that the culprit who leaked the president's draft speech hours before his last nationwide broadcast has been caught. The president had addressed the nation on Monday, extending the lockdown in Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun by 1 week. It was reported that at least 4 hours before the broadcast, a version full of errors circulated on social media. In a piece entitled "Enemies of the State," Femi Adesina said, The individual who leaked the memo had been traced and is now paying for his evil action.
Well, you know, that day I said that we probably were dealing with a case of sabotage.
Yes.
There are many people who overreach themselves within the system. They want to do other people's job. When I was in that same villa, we called it the gap theory. People are always looking for an opportunity to upstage you, to do what is not their own job. And they will go and cause problems. And the office of the media advisor is always a special target. So many people think that they can do the work of journalists or communication advisors, even if their only claim to that relevance is that they had an uncle who died long ago, who was probably a vendor in the 1940s. So I'm happy that Femi Adesina has clarified exactly what happened and that steps have been taken to send a strong signal to other people that, look, face your work. Stop prognosing into other people's assignment, leaking documents that you should not even have access to.
It is ridiculous.
Because the president's speech is a national security document. Yes. It's not a thing you joke around with.
I mean, I think just knowing that that version was actually filled with errors and you
it can only be released in advance where the president himself has fully signed off on it.
Right.
If he's reading it, somebody is checking against delivery, as I explained the other time, and then it will be released after because he can amend it at any time.
During the speech.
So for somebody whose job it is not to go and release it, and a wrong version.
I am actually very impressed that it took about 5 days for the investigation to go through.
But it's good that we finally heard something.
Really
thank you for what's trending today and have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.